everybody. Both Nick and I have had numerous requests from our family, friends, and coworkers about the land. What stage is it? How big is it? Where's it located? Where's Belize? Is it an island? And you name it. So I figured I'd put together a really quick video showing the location and the size of the land and some of the other key areas down in Belize that you've heard us talk about or showed you videos or pictures from or whatever. Unfortunately, there are no, within the last 3 months, satellite images. They seem to update about every 6 to 8 months, even a year in certain areas. But you'll get a good handle on this. And as soon as we get some satellite images of some cleared areas, then, we'll definitely forward them along. But anyway, first of all, Belize. Well, Belize is the little country down below the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula. So here is, if you see the little hand down there, this is the Mexico or the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula. And right up here on the tip is Cancun. And that little mark right there you see is actually Cozumel, Playa del Carmen's right there, big diving areas. And if you go due south, this little kidney bean size country, that's Belize. This is Guatemala to the left, and actually it wraps around all the way to the south. But with this little short spit across Guatemala, this is actually Honduras right here. And of course, Panama's down here, Costa Rica's over here. So that's where Belize is. And we will type in on my trusty Google Earth, and we'll zoom right on into where Belize is and go right into Belize City. And I put some boundary markers in here, but this is Belize City. So anybody that's ever been on a cruise would have gone into the south side of Belize City, right down here, major cruise ports. And so if you've ever done it and you did zip lining or whatever, you would have even seen most of Belize City. You would have took you right up here to Favors Road and went over here to the Western Highway, and you would have took off straight to the west. They have ferries that take you over here to San Pedro, which is right here on Ambergris Key, which is Key Calker, whatever. This is like one of the big dive resort towns, islands over here. So you see a lot of people on House Hunters International looking for condos or houses in Belize, and they're in San Pedro. This is where all this is, out here on this little spit of coral islands or a key out there in the Caribbean a bit. And actually, if I can find it, I won't spend too much time looking for this, but this is the Caribbean shelf out here close to this. And let me see if I can find it. Might not be able to see it. I don't see it here, but actually is the famous Blue Hole dive spot. It might be it right here, actually, right off Key Calker. Enough. Didn't want to digress too much. So we will zoom out a little bit. So this is Belize City, right up here along this road right here. This is the actual airport. We can zoom in and show you the airport. This is Philip Golson's International Airport. This is where we fly in and out of. Anybody that flies in and out of Belize is going to fly into this airport. And when you come out of the airport, you have a couple of directions you can go to our land. You can either go to the north and then get down on here, and this takes you through the famous Burl Boom Cut, and actually Hattiesville's right here, where the infamous Hattieville Prison is right there. Or you can go into town, and they've got a new cutover actually right here that will actually get onto the Western Highway, and there's the cruise port right there. The Western Highway takes you straight on out west, and this goes all the way out to the capital city of Belmopan, which is right there. And also we have San Ignacio, which is right here, which is a really, really big town. A lot of stuff in San Ignacio. And then you keep going, and there's the Guatemalan border right there. This area that you see up here called Spanish Lookout, this is the major river in Belize, called the Belize River. It goes all the way through into town, splits right through the middle of Belize City, a big river. But when you go across into Spanish Creek, this whole area up here, and you can see it's all farmland, is owned by Mennonites. And this is like the breadbasket of Belize. If you go across this river and you go into Spanish Lookout and you closed your eyes, you would swear you were in Vermont, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, or wherever. Cornfields, all kinds of, soy, beans, corn, wheat, and everything is grown all through here. And this is also where Nikki and I spend a lot of time with the Mennonites, because this is where all the hardware stores are, the tractor supply, the feed, the grass, hay, anything for equine or farm management, tractors, equipment, or whatever, will be found right here in Spanish Lookout. As a matter of fact, our builder, who's not Mennonite, is actually located right here in Spanish Lookout as well. So our land is actually right here. And I'll zoom out to kind of give you an idea of the location. Here's Belize City, and you take the Western Highway out, and then right here is where this road called the Coastal Road intersects with the Western Highway. All these big yellow ones are paved, but the Coastal Road that you see that goes all the way down here and runs into the Hummingbird, this is the Hummingbird Highway that runs right along the lip of the mountains. One of the most beautiful, picturesque drives you could ever take through here. Beautiful drive. Down here, this is 38 miles of all-weather dirt and gravel road that sometimes, especially in the north, gets washed out in heavy rains, or not washed out, but gets flooded because the water can't drain fast enough. And if you have really high rain or tropical storms that sit for a while or whatever, or you get a lot of rain up here in the mountains and it drains and floods the rivers and creeks, it can become impassable for a day or two while it takes the water, for the water to drain out into the lagoons. This is Dangriga. This is a fishing village full of Garifuna that are famous for making their drums and everything, that are old slaves that the legend has it an old slave ship ran aground during a storm, and they were stranded on one of the reefs, and they gave them sanctuary here in Belize and their freedom, and they formed a little village of Dangriga, which is actually a good-sized town. This is probably where we're going to have our post office box and where we'll do most of our day-to-day shopping for goods and whatever. And then we go to Belize City or Belmopan for any major purchases or big every couple of weeks where we have to do major shopping or whatever like that. But for the day-to-day stuff and paying taxes and utilities and getting our mail and all, probably right here at Dangriga, which is, we're at milepost 19 and 20. It's 18 miles to this point, and this is another 4 or 5 miles on paved road into Dangriga. So not long. And to give you another part of the layout, right down here, if you follow the Southern Highway down here, this is Placencia. And Placencia is where we first came down and stayed in Belize, is this long isthmus that goes down here. And this whole isthmus, there's a road that runs the whole length of this, and actually right up around here by this international airport that's not done and probably will never get complete, goes up here, and then the road cuts straight across over here to the Southern Highway. But this is full of resorts, restaurants. The town of Placencia is actually really quaint, fishing village, but a lot of vacation homes, resorts and all are all up and down this isthmus. As a matter of fact, right around here, we'll zoom in. Right around here, this whole thing is an inland marina or waterway, and this whole area is a bunch of subdivision with monster mega $1 million houses and mansions. Some are empty lots, some are finished, some are in various stages of completion that have been that way for years. But the houses on this peninsula or right here in this development are huge, and there's a lot of development around here. You can see here there's a port or marina that they built with some docks and everything right here, and there's a monster big multi-story huge condo complex that is like one building's done and the other ones are just concrete shells that look like the whole thing just stalled out years ago. But if somebody ever picks that up, I mean, it's a monster, really high-end development right there. So I just want to let you know that. But Placencia is one of the big resort towns in Belize. And another one of the resort towns, and this is where Nikki and I stay most of the time when we go down there, is right here in Hopkins. And Hopkins has, same thing, a whole bunch of resorts and vacation homes and second homes all down this peninsula that goes all the way down here to the end. And we normally stay right down here in some of the private houses or villas that you see us take pictures of right on the Caribbean. This is where they are. this is the main Hopkins Road, and this is the back road. And this river, I'll zoom in a little bit. This river you see right here is a gorgeous river. This is a monster bridge that goes across. It's called the Sittee, Sittee River. It's a very deep river. There's like alligators or crocodiles in that river. You see there's subdivisions all on this side of it, which is part of sanctuary, and I'll get to in a second. But it goes all the way down. It goes all around again. And this road all along here are houses, vacation homes, or whatever. There's actually a marina that's right here that dumps right out into the Caribbean that you can, dock your boat. But this, actually, here's the marina, sorry. But this whole area back here is just beautiful, deep, wide river with docks and everything and beautiful homes. I'd love to have a house or a lot on this river. But if you have really big rain or they release the dams during heavy rain periods or tropical storms or whatever up in the mountains, this river has been known to flood. And actually, years ago, the entire Hopkins area, this whole area down here, flooded out because of the river and everything jumping its banks. It got about 3 feet of water all in this whole area down here because it just overflowed and filled in all of these wetlands. All this is just wetlands right here. But anyway, don't mean to digress too much. But Nikki and I, we stay in Hopkins most of the time when we're there. So if we go back out and let you know, well, one other thing, this whole area right here that you see cleared out is called Sanctuary Belize. When you see the commercials on TV or whatever to say buybelize.com or belize.com, it's not the country. It's actually this huge resort or retirement community, or it's a development basically is what it is. And this was taken a couple of years ago. This whole area right here is the marina, and their waterfront or marina lots that actually they have man-made canals built in there, so people have their own dock for their boat and they can build their house. This is all the savannah. This is all up in the river, jungle lots and everything that they have. And all back up here is the equestrian estates that they've built. Super expensive. If they ever finish it, it will be really, really, really nice. But this thing has gone through a couple of different owners, and what they're doing now is just selling lots, promising people that their lots will be worth a whole lot more money down the road. So a lot of people are buying it just to flip their lots, not to actually build. But there's a bunch of houses and stuff here, but this area is about the size of Manhattan, just to let you know. And there'll be like tens of thousands of lots in here, and you go to sanctuarybelize.com or whatever, you'll see the layouts and all. But this is, close to us. And there's big equestrian estates. So there should be a lot of horse support structures down here, and maybe even Nikki could do stuff with them, who knows, down the road. But anyway, so we go back up here. This is Dangriga, and that's Sanctuary right there, not far from us. This is the coastal road, and you go up this coastal road a little bit. This turnoff right here is known as the Gales Point turnoff. And then if you go straight on it, this is Gales Point, and this is an isthmus with a fishing village that goes out into the southern lagoons. The southern lagoon is this big body of water that's very shallow. It's about 8 to 10 feet deep at the deepest point. And, a couple of rivers and a whole bunch of creeks enter into the southern lagoon. And then the southern lagoon's main tributary is right here that dumps out, and this is the Caribbean Sea right here. This is the northern lagoon right here, which empties very slowly out, and you can see it's got a whole lot of like limestone and stuff, which gives it that weird color, because all this is limestone bedrock and limestone cliffs and mountains all right back here, and all the rivers and all drain through the limestone and into the lagoons and then out into the Caribbean. And you can see the coloring, and then it slowly gets into the the dark blue of the Caribbean. But this is almost like a trap body of water that slowly drains. The southern lagoon, not so much. The southern lagoon drains pretty rapidly, so it stays kind of nice and dark color most of the time. But this is where our land is. The Caribbean, straight across here, from this point over there is about a mile, maybe less than a mile. From our house straight to the southern lagoon is about a mile, and it's about 2 to 2.5 miles from our land straight as a crow flies to the Caribbean. And all of this right down here is uninhabited sandy beach. I mean, there's a little village here, there's villages here, and there's a couple of small little enclaves, but for the most part, we're kind of hoping that we could trailer our horses over to here or something on weekends and just get out and ride the horses up and down the beach, with no problem whatsoever. So You've heard of us talk about the Czechoslovakian medical guy or doctor that is fairly well off, we assume, who supposedly got a patent for some medical screening test or whatever and has a lot of money. Well, this is his driveway that goes this way all the way to here and then goes this way all the way over, and he has a dock right here. All of this land right here, it's a ton of it, all of it. It's almost 1,000 acres, like 800 some acres he owns, and all this is like savanna. And right down here is really just wetland. You can't do much with. This is all like, these are hills, real steep or big hills or small little mountains with jungle, stuff like that, with creeks that run through it. This is all savanna land that you see kind of grayed out with savanna grasses, almost like you could picture the tidal grasses here in the Carolinas. So this area right here, this is his lodge that he's built there, and I'll zoom in a little closer. So this is his lodge called the Far and Away Lodge, a fishing lodge. He rents out for over $3,000 a week. And it's got a pool. That's the pool right beside it. He's got an outdoor kitchen and a wraparound deck. Real nice size lodge. And all this is paved all the way up to just past the lodge. And right here you can see his boat dock with a covered area. And he's also got a line up here to a little inland river that you can put like sea kayaks. And he's going to put a dock there. All this area, he has partnered up with the developer that we bought our land from, and now they are going to subdivide, supposedly, I got air quotes going here, they are going to subdivide a huge portion of this and actually create and develop it and create roads and subdivisions out here and build a marina and clubhouse. Now, Belize is full of people with pipe dreams, but this guy's got a lot of experience down here, has done a lot of development in here, and he really wants to live down here in his own retirement. And right over here in Gales Point, our land manager has a place over here, and actually this house right here is owned, maybe still owned by the Heinz family, from the Heinz ketchup. No, the Gerber family, the Gerber baby foods, and they own a big house here that they're trying to sell, but it's in a sad state of disrepair. But they also want to put a marina and community over here too that we would all could be part of and be members of and all the other fun stuff. But luckily right now they have tons of trails through these acres and all the other stuff, big wide trails that they said we could ride our horses on anytime. And the owner, Victor, if he still wants to, says his wife loves horses and hopefully they can have a horse or two, or at least they come and ride horses with us whenever they're in the country doing it. But this is kind of like what we say, we're right off the Southern Lagoon. This is where it is. And this driving this is right at 2.5 miles over to here. And it's all paved to this point. But as the crow flies, it's less than a mile. So anyway, back to our land. This is our land. And our driveway is right here, and this is all mountains back behind here. Beautiful. If you see the pictures we take of all the cleared areas here and here, you can see the mountains in the background. That's looking towards the west at all of these big high mountains and everything. And all this is lush jungle, and all up here is jungle and savanna. And then it gets up here, it's really non-usable land for us. But all here we see the darker green is beautiful, fertile land that we're going to have pastures, and our house is going to be right there. So if you get an idea, this is where our land is to the Caribbean, and this is a coastal road that we are hoping will get paved. And to think that we think this is going to be fairly soon, and I'll show you in a little bit, down here is a major river that crosses, and I will find the turnoff on this here in a second. There it is. This right here is a major bridge that was washed out years ago, long before we got down here, when they had a monster storm up in the mountains that dumped a ton of water, and this big river, which is way far away from us, overflowed its banks big time and flooded out the bridge. So they actually had to come in here and make a temporary bridge. This is like a big steel and wooden beam bridge across there. So when we started looking at our land, this is the way it was. Shortly after we made our second or third trip down there, we noticed they started doing construction. Now they have a brand new bridge that goes right across here that looks like an interstate bridge here in the United States. Big, high concrete, steel, There we go. Here's Terra Server. This is actually from February of 2016, just over a year ago. You can see here's the temporary bridge. This is all the construction that was going on last year at this time on the bridge. You can see all the construction trailers and everybody there. Well, that's done now. So now this is all blocked off, and it just goes straight across here on this bridge. And if you look on here, this is more recent, and I think this is about the same time. You can see how they've cleared 40 feet on either side of the road, and they put brand new utility poles all up and down this road 40 feet back. And if we go to our land, this is kind of funny because I was hoping, even though this is February, so the clearing last year, the clearing hadn't started, but this is kind of funny. I thought this is perfect for us because this is usually how it works out. There's the Gales Point turnoff. Here is our land, and wouldn't you know it, right where our land is, which is right there, there's a big cloud. So, but as you can see, this is going in. There's the Faraway Lodge. There's the dock. This is Gales Point right here. One thing I wanted to show you with this Terra Server, which is actually kind of nice. Do you see all this? This is all orange orchards. Tons and tons of orange orchards, more than I've ever seen in my life. And if we go up the road here, all of this, oranges. All of this right here, thousands of acres of oranges. We follow the coastal road, all of this, all back up in here. We can zoom in a little bit. All this is all oranges, orange orchards. And this is really cool because this is all cliffs back here. And it's beautiful. And when you drive right through here, like especially through here, it's like cliffs on both sides with jungle. It's really beautiful. Then you go through here, look at both sides of the road, as far back as you can see. It's all oranges, oranges. And this is a couple of square miles of oranges here. Oranges, oranges, oranges. Cleared for more oranges right there. And we go up here, and then right here is our land right under this cloud. So we are basically surrounded by orange orchards and mountains behind us and private land between us and the lagoon that hopefully we'll become good friends with. So to show you the land, this is the road, and you can see here's the old road that they blocked off, and they built another road years and years ago that we've got to actually utilize some of the already hard-packed road as our driveway. So if I go back, there's this road right here, and you can see right here is like the little, standing water right there that we've had backfilled already. And here's that area with the little water right there and the road that goes through here. Well, this is our property. And you can see this is the driveway into the Czechoslovakian doctor's property, and this goes south. Our initial land purchase started here, goes all the way back to here, up to here to the top of the hill, over and over. This was like 7 acres of pasture, and this was 12 point something acres of pasture, and then the rest of it was all hills inside the creeks, jungle, and all that we've partially cleared. We left all the palms, the big trees and everything, cleared all the creeks out, cleared the pastures, and left the big trees standing. And then when we were there last February, we actually purchased this extra 25 acres right here. So this is the extra acres, which means now we got all this is pasture, and then all that you see back over here is pasture. All this back here is on the cliffs, and everybody's seen pictures of the cliffs and all. And we plan on building a house right there with the cliffs right behind us, and the house will be up on a hill, elevated, up on pylons. We park underneath of it, and we want a flying V kind of look to where one wing is going to be this way that we can look out over this pasture. The center part will be right here at the corner facing out this way, and then the other wing will go back this way so we can see out over this whole pasture. So we're hoping from the house, with screened-in porching all around, we can look out over this pasture, straight out to the sea, and over these pastures and all, look at the driveway, and then we'll have a careman's or caretaker's house like just inside the trees and all right here. So if people try to sneak in, they won't see him, and he'll be able to see everything from his house. And we'll have a driveway up here. That's where this access road is. And we got our main driveway here. that snakes this way, goes across the creek with a vehicle bridge, and then right into the house right there. And this is all just beautiful palm trees, deep water creeks. The spring is literally right back here that we'll use for our freshwater source as well. So that is our property and Belize in a nutshell. There's a whole lot more that we could talk about Belize or whatever, but I hope this clears up everybody's questions about, where's your property? How big is it? Right now, it stands at roughly 65 acres total. And of that, we are hoping 20 so plus of that, maybe close to 30 acres will be full pasture for the horses, and we've already got it fenced. So as soon as I'll keep checking the satellites, and if they ever update with the property cleared, I'll make sure I let everybody know. Thanks, guys. Have a terrific day.